We're in Colby, and this is my old house I used to live in from the time I was a first grader until the time I graduated from college. I wrote the song When You Come Home about this house and about this driveway and about everything. My dad made this basketball goal for me when I was in grade school so I could practice. I was always a really good shooter from straight on like this, and I realized why now, because my driveway was only so wide, and so I couldn't make a basket outside on the grass at all, but I took so many shots from the driveway. That's, I think, why I got to be good from this one spot. Miss York lives here now, and she's been nice enough to let us go in and take a tour of my old house, and I'm sure it looks different now, but it'll still be neat to see where my bedroom was and everything, so we'll just go inside. Thank you for life and for love and for life. Well, this is Miss York.
Well, it's Ms.
Miss?
It's not Mrs.
No,
I have
Miss.
never been a Mrs. York.
I've got you. I understand. And I'm not married either, so we're in the same boat on that whole thing. I'm going to give you a CD, too, when we're done.
Well, I don't have you.
Oh, you don't? Well, I'm going to play a song on the piano.
Well, good.
Just to be about the same thing. Okay. I was in 4-H, and I used to make lemon bar cookies. Actually, my mom made them, but I put my name on them, and we got a State Fair blue out of that. That was great. And this is my sister's room. We had a locust tree out front, and when they get older, they shed their skins, and they get like little hard plastic shells. And I collected a bag of them, and just for fun, I came in here and I pulled her covers off, and I put them all down in the bed, you know, by where her feet would go. And I made her bed again, and then about 10 o'clock at night one night, she got in bed and just screamed and ran out of the house, and those are good times. Man, everything looks so much smaller now than it does when I used to live here, but I was littler when I lived here, so let's go to my own room. Oh my gosh. This is my bedroom, and I made this desk with my good friend Jimmy Greathouse. That was like 20 years ago, and it's still here. And I think the reason it's still here is because we hammered it to the wall. So that's kind of my house right there.
First day of recess, they all laughed at me when I fell off the swing set and scraped on my knee. The nurse called my mama to say I'd be late. When she gave me the phone, I could hear mama say, I'm so sorry, son. Oh, I think you're so brave. She was smiling when she said, when you come home, no matter how far, run through the door and into my arms. It's where you are loved, it's where you belong, and I will be here when you come home. I waved goodbye through the window as I boarded the plane. My first job in Houston was waiting for me. Found a letter from mama tucked in my coat, and as I flew down the runway, I smiled when she wrote, I'll miss you, son, you'll be so far away. I'll be waiting for the day when you come home, no matter how far, run through the door and into my arms. It's where you are loved, it's where you belong, and I will be here when you come home. Well, I don't think she can hear you now. The doctor told me your mother is fading, it's best that you leave. So I whispered I love you and then turned away. But I stopped at the door when I heard mama say, I love you, son, but they're calling me away. Promise me before I go been hearing voices telling me that I can never be what I wanna be. They're binding me with lies, haunting me at night and say there's nothing to believe. Somewhere in the quietness, when I'm overcome with loneliness, I hear you call my name. Like I bother you and them, but as I listen I can hear you say, you are a child of mine, born of my own desire, and you bear the whole of a life. No matter where you go, oh, you will always know you bear every cry. You are a child of mine. So I listen as you tell me who I am, who it is I'm going to be. I hang on every word, knowing I have heard I am yours and I am free. When I am alone at night, that is when I hear the lie, you'll never be enough. So giving in to fear, if I listen I can hear you say, you are a child of mine, born of my own desire, and you bear the whole of a life. No matter where you go, oh, you will always know you bear every cry. You are a child of mine. I am calling. You sing. You are a child of mine, born of my own desire, and you bear the whole of a life. No matter where you go, oh, you will always know you bear every cry. You are a child of mine. I am calling. No matter where you go, always know you bear every cry. You are a child of
Well, this is the first house that I ever lived in when I moved to Nashville, and a girl who was an intern at the Stouffer Hotel in the Human Resources Department had a friend of a friend of a friend who wasn't even her friend, said, hey, I've got a place you might be interested in living. I was unpacking everything out of my RX-7, and there was a lady sitting on a porch right next to me, the house right next door. She asked what my name was, and I said, well, I'm Mark Schultz from Kansas. And she said, well, Mark Schultz from Kansas, if I was you, I would park your car behind the house. Otherwise, you're going to get a brick thrown through the window tonight. And I thought, oh, good choice on places to live, Schultz. So I thanked her for the tip, and I drove my car to the back side of the house, and I actually got the wrong driveway, and I pulled into one in the back, and it was an elderly couple, and they said, hey, Mark, you're in the wrong driveway. And I said, how did you know my name? And they said the lady here had called all the way around the neighborhood and let them know that there was a new guy in town. It was Henry and Liz, and I think they're about 75 years old at the time, and they adopted me, and they just took me in. Coming home from work, and I'd walk in my house and the phone would ring. It would be Liz on the phone, and she'd say, son, what are you doing right now? And I'd say, well, Liz, I just got home. And she'd go, supper's been on for 2 hours, get over here. And she would have a steak for me all cut up in squares, and vegetables on one side and everything fried, okra, corn, bread, everything. And I'd say, Liz, you don't need to feed me. And she would grab my ear and start squeezing and go, sit, son, sit. They were my best friends, you know, and I would hang out there every night. I didn't know anybody else. And they said, if our son was out in the world like you are, we'd want to know that somebody was taking good care of him. And I can just tell you that you can live a lot of life before you ever run into a Henry and Liz. And I'm glad that they stepped into my life at the time they did. This next song is a perfect example. One of the kids in the youth group had told his dad his hand wasn't feeling so well, it's kind of hurting. And so after a while it still hurt, so he took him to the doctor, and I got a call at the church from this dad, and he asked if I would come down to the hospital. I got down there, and his son, Martin, wasn't feeling good, and so the doctor came in, and the doctor said, I've got good news and I've got bad news. Martin, his hand was hurting, and the doctor said, there's nothing wrong with Martin's hand. The bad news is that we did a blood test and Martin's got leukemia. And for the next year and a half, I walked through life with a family who didn't know if they're going to get to keep their son or not. And every night, Martin's mom would go into his room and she would just sit down with him and she would rub his back and help him go to sleep. And then she would break down and cry because she realized after he was sleeping that she could rub his back, but she couldn't cure him of cancer. And there were some nights without an alarm clock, John, his dad would just get up and walk down the hall and stand at the door and watch him sleep. Try to imagine what life would be like without him. And would go over to Martin's bed and say a prayer over his son and say, dear God, this is my son. Give me his cancer. You can take me, but don't take my son. And I tried to write this song for about 3 months, and I never could. And then one day I felt God tap me on the shoulder and say, Mark, do you have a son? And I said, no, sir. And he said, do you have a son with cancer? And I said, no, sir. And he said, you need to slide over. And this song was done in about 45 minutes. And when I look at my CD, my first CD, and it says, He's My Son, written by Mark Schultz, I just start laughing because I realized the closest I ever came to writing this song was I just happened to be in the room when God gave it to me. And so this is the song that he wrote for them.
Down on my knees again tonight, I'm hoping this prayer will turn out right. See, there is a boy that needs your help. I've done all that I can do myself. His mother is tired, sure you can understand. Tonight as he sleeps, she goes and holds his hand, and she tries not to cry as the tears fill her eyes. Can you hear me? Am I getting through tonight? Can you see Can you make it feel alright? If you can hear me, let me take his place somehow. See, he's not just anyone, he's my son. Sometimes late at night I watch him sleep. I dream of the boy he'd like to be. I try to be strong and see him through. God, who he needs right now is you. Let him grow old, live life without this fear. What would I be living without him here? He's so tired and he's scared. Let him know that you're there. Can you hear me? Am I getting through tonight? Can you see him? Can you make him feel alright? If you can hear me, let me take his place somehow. See, he's not just anyone, he's my son. Can you hear me? Am I getting through tonight? Can you see him? Can you make him feel alright? You can hear me. Let me take his place somehow. See, he's not just anyone. Can you hear me? Can you see him? Please don't leave him. He's my son. Thanks, Sean. My favorite part of that story is Martin is now 21 years old and totally 100% cancer-free, and God is totally healed him. Are you ready to make a little noise for the Lord? King of kings, Lord of lords, Prince of peace I am. King of kings, Lord of lords, Prince of peace I am. King of kings, Lord of lords, Prince of peace I am. Early morning and we don't deserve it. Prince of Peace, He is the great I am. King of Kings, He came and served it. Lord of Lords, and we don't deserve it. Prince of Peace, He is the great I am. King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Prince of Peace, I am. King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Prince of Peace, I am.
I became the youth director, and I had no idea what that was going to do to my life, but all of a sudden it was flipped upside down. I was going to every football game, every basketball game, every track meet, every Bible study, and I loved it. And one summer I went on 6 mission trips. Mark DeVries would say, hey, why don't you write a song about the mission trip, and then when you come back you can teach it to the kids and they can sing it back to the church so the church kind of knows what you guys did on your trip. We went to Jamaica. We were having a free day, and we were at the beach as we're at the waterfalls. A lady from the camp came up to me and she said, do you have a guy named Doug in your group? And I said, yeah. And she said, we just got word that his dad passed away from cancer last night. And it broke my heart that I had to tell him, and I pulled him aside and I said, Doug, I just found out that your dad passed away last night. And he just looked at me, he just stared at me. And I said, we should go call your mom. And so we walked to the top of the hill and they called his mom on a payphone. We're walking down the hill and we looked out, and one of the other leaders had already told our kids about Doug's dad. As we're walking down the hill, you could just see all these seniors in high school. There's like 30 of them. They're all out in the water up to their knees, and they're all holding hands praying. And you've got people who've never been to church who are just stopping and are just watching on the beach to see what's going on. And Doug and I walked out into the water, and somebody dropped their hands, and Doug walked into the middle of the group, and everybody just converged on Doug, and they put their hand on his head and they started praying. And I just broke down, and I realized that church is not a building. Church is not the steeple. Church is not the bricks. Church is the people.
Remember me in a Bible cracked and faded by the year. Remember me in a sanctuary filled with silent prayers, and age to age and heart to heart, bound by grace and peace, child of wonder, child of God, I remember you. Remember me. Remember me when the color of a sunset fills the sky. Remember me when you pray and tears of joy fall from your eyes, and age to age and heart to heart, bound when the children leave their Sunday school with smiles. Remember me when they're old enough to